to Filipinos, may we learn to make less laws. It is toward this end that I respectfully seek the help of my esteemed colleagues in this body. I humbly seek your help, Mr. President, dear colleagues, to make the laws that we made work just a little bit more. My agenda is actually quite simple. It will focus on a few very basic facts, Mr. President. Let me share with you a little formula for a simple action agenda for the environment. In our presence today are NGOs representing the environment all over the country and LGU representatives, mayors like Mayor Hagedorn, who have proven to us that we can make these laws work. What do I mean? What we need, Mr. President, is a CPR for Mother Earth. CPR stands for conservation, protection, and restoration. It is the product of EEE, education, engineering, and enforcement. As early as 1977, there is a law that mandates that environmental education must be incorporated in all levels of the curriculum. This is in the Philippine Environmental Code. I was only fourth year high school when this law or this code was enacted. It's been 30 years, Mr. President. It's a DepEd implementing this law. This is one generation ago. I'm on my second term as a senator, Mr. President. Maybe some of those younger than me here were simply in grade school, but has a DepEd complied with this law. We understand that environmental educators have prepared a complete module for a primary. Yes, the majority leader, he says, was in preschool while I was in high school. I don't actually believe that, but let's leave it to him. Mr. President, we understand there is a module for primary and secondary education. It is a matter for the Department of Education to adopt and implement it throughout the country in all public and private schools, hopefully by June next year. In this regard, we will seek the assistance of the educators in this body to help us realize this vision. And there are many. There was a former UP president, Senator Angara. There's a UP professor, Senator Escudero. There is Senator Pangilinan, I think you also used to teach. And there are many other educators like Senator Santiago. All of us actually are educators in our own right. In this regard, Mr. President, I humbly seek the help of our colleagues to help us formulate and even produce mass media educational tools to raise the level of environmental awareness of our people, especially the young. It is said that a great movement may be born in the minds of a few, but it must be spoken by the mouths of many and must be carried on the shoulders of all, of every man, woman, and child. Mass media, mass education is what we need, Mr. President. There are many celebrities in this chamber. Senate President pro tempore Jinggoy Estrada, Senator Lito Lapid, who is known and loved nationwide, Senator Bong Revilla, and all others who have appeared in various mass medium can use their power, their celebrity status, including Senator Hunasan, who was the principal author of the Clean Air Act. We can use our power, our celebrity, our popularity, and utilize mass medium to be able to tell the young, the old, the new, and those still learning that we must implement the laws that we enact. All the education, Mr. President, whether formal or informal, result in a very important engineering marvel, the re-engineering of the mind. With a changed mindset, we will begin to think differently and act accordingly. We will then no longer debate on the why of the things that we need to do for the CPR of our country. We will not debate why it happened, who's to blame, etc. Rather, we will only cooperate. We will work together on the when, the where, the who, and the how we can do the job faster, better, and with greater effect. We have other environmental advocates. Senator Cayetano, Pia, can use her triathlon and go into eco sports. Senator Mig Subiri, who's also an athlete as well as an environmentalist and the author of the Biofuels Act, can also help us in this endeavor. There is just so much to do, Mr. President, so little time and so few hands. In the matter of our lands, our forests and our watersheds, the recurring floods and the droughts have taught us, I hope, that unless we CPR the forests and the watersheds, the situation will only get worse in the years to come. But then again, a basic question, and I'm sure Senator Escudero would be interested in this because there are many forests in the Bicol region. How can we protect something if we do not even know where it is? The question is so basic and so obvious. It is a wonder why it has escaped us for so long. Perhaps it is true that it is a difference between the obscure and the obvious. The obscure is figured out sooner or later. The obvious takes a little longer. It is so basic that 20 years ago, Mr. President, the framers of the 1987 Constitution precisely wrote, and I quote, "Congress shall, as soon as possible, determine by law the specific limits of the forest lands and national parks, marking clearly on the ground their boundaries." Yet, 20 years hence, Congress has not complied with this constitutional mandate. Many may say it is expensive. Others say it is time-consuming. Others say it cannot be done. But no one will dispute that it must be done, like many other things in this nation. In fact, if Congress started doing it 20 years ago, it would have been finished before our time. There is nothing that says that we must do it all at once. What is needed is that it must be done. Mayor Ed Hagedorn, who is present here today, did it in his critical watershed in Puerto Princesa, the Irawan watershed, with an area of more than 4,000 hectares. You may ask, how did he do it? How much did he spend out of his own budget? Did he get a foreign grant from China in the billions of dollars like ZTE? No, Mr. President. It is an amount that we in this body, so used to talking in the hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars, may find insignificant. Believe it or not, Mr. President, Mayor Hagedorn, a UNEP awardee like Attorney Oposa, did it by only spending 350,000 for the first time and another 350,000 pesos for the second time. For less than 1 million pesos, he was able to delineate all the forest boundaries in Puerto Princesa City in Palawan. Yes, this is what we call political will, Mr. President.